you know, you know. Yes, it is time for the State of the Melanin address. If you know, you know. So we hope that everyone is able to tap on in. I'm ready to get my people here. Y'all, we are 1 week out from the biggest day in revolutionary history, the birth date of the one, the only, the honorable brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm. We are 1 week out, you all. That's right. Um, almost 1 week out, a week and a day, but we can call it a week. Because if this is Wednesday, what's going on? And what are you gonna do about it? I'm starting to say that. Not just what's going on, but what are you gonna do about what's going on? Um, we are 1 week out, 1 week in a day, but like I said, if you know, you know, you already know we 1 week out literally of Claim Malcolm X Day, which is taking place. We kick off Thursday, May 19th at the Beloved Community Church located in the historical Pittsburgh area of Atlanta, Southwest. We are going to be doing a great community luncheon. We have some awesome community partners that are coming on board, including the Pittsburgh Community Market, Gigi's Teas. We have Fit with Hips Life, okay? Because if you are fit but you got those hips, we are there. And of course, we're going to have food provided by Colored Only Cafe. And we have a couple of other surprises in store as well. And then y'all know Mr. Black Supremacy himself will be in the building. Mr. Big Hearts Housing, MX Media Group will be represented, as well as the Claim Malcolm X Day Committee. We got some out of staters coming in for this, y'all. It's just going to be fabulous. And even though it kicks off Thursday, May 19th in the AM, we excuse me, it does not stop there. We are having activities the entire day, but a couple of locations, but the entire day. So please make sure you tune in. Please make sure you tap in. If you are anywhere near the Georgia area, come on through. Tickets are still available on coloredonlycafe.com. Y'all know that is my website, and you can get your direct link through the website at coloredonlycafe.com. And then the day of, y'all, don't wait to the day of, because the day of, it's just going to be a lot of, you know, we have to make a lot of accommodations. And so we're trying to do that to accommodate everybody beforehand, because the day of, it's going to be it's going to have to be priced out accordingly, to still make it economically feasible, but also to pay appreciation to literally the people that have put forward and contributed and got their tickets early. So to balance things out, y'all, the day of, because we are going to be in some spaces that do, the movement does need funding. And so these particular locations do need funding, they require funding. So we're going to make sure that, y'all, that is not my daughter breaking. That's not anybody breaking in. That's my daughter in the rear there. That's pretty scary though. I would hope that if anybody was watching this, y'all were ready uh to you know to help report this situation. But we're trying to make sure that we're accommodating the venue spaces that we are, because the first space, like I said, is the Beloved Community Church. But then that evening, the X After Dark activities take place at the Black Dot Cultural Center located in Lithonia. And this is a beautiful location, you all. And again, certain things need to be accommodated. They have staff that comes and cleans and that sort of thing. And the people show up the day of, which we know you are, no matter what, with saying, hey, we got these tickets for sale. We know that people are going to show up the day of, and to properly make sure that this space is accommodated. We are going to have the ticket prices be at a certain level that balances out that use of the space. So please get them now before Thursday, May 19th, because literally we are a week out before Thursday, May 19th, please make sure you go ahead and get your tickets because once Thursday, May 19th comes around, they will be, like I said, you're balancing out for literally, people that tapped in early enough that they didn't even pay anything, but we still have to accommodate the space. So, what else is going on in your neck of the woods? So that's what's going on over here. Of course, we're getting ready for Claim Malcolm X Day, but we know right now there is a lot of attention on not only the leak that was made within the Supreme Court justices, but also just the decision in a whole with the possibility or the reality that Roe versus Wade is heading towards an overturning. So you all know I haven't been as active as I used to be here on YouTube because I've been kind of, those of you who do know, I've been kind of sharing my time or um, investing my time rather on TikTok. And TikTok has been it's been an educational journey. It's been definitely a interesting learning that app and that sort of thing. But at the bulk of everything, it's been very educational. It's been really eye opening that we have been able to have kind of a really supportive black community on TikTok. Can I, I mean, I'm going to go there because I haven't really found that same type of support here on YouTube. It's very supportive of like, smaller YouTube channels versus, intermediate, bigger, larger platforms, that sort of thing. And I had found that type of support system with people that were supporting the smaller. But something is definitely very much a reality on the black TikTok side of things. They are it's incredible. They're supportive. They promote your platform. The people that are local, that's what I have found the most interesting about TikTok. The people that are local here in Atlanta, Georgia, like I connect with them a whole lot easier than the people on YouTube that are here in local. There are people here in Georgia that are local and they have huge YouTube platforms, and I've never seen them anywhere. Whereas on TikTok, it's been definitely a difference. They may have huge platforms, but they will DM. They do follow back. I have met a couple of people, a few people, as a matter of fact, and they have pretty big TikTok following. So, um, it's like they have the popularity, but they still have the humility. Where I think like YouTube, man, they get a couple of hundred, and they already gone. And don't even mention Instagram. If they got a few thousand on Instagram, uh, you never hear from these people, and like literally, literally these people could be in your neck of the woods. Like I know one lady who is she's the mom of a very very popular influencer couple, and she asks me stuff, and I'm like, why don't you ask, your daughter? She's like, oh, we don't talk. We don't talk. Like when we talk, we don't talk about IG. We don't talk about her social media influence, career. And her family, she and her family literally have millions of followers. And like I said, I've always said I wouldn't say who it was. Um, but yeah, let me see who this is. I don't see you. Um, Let me see. Hmm. Okay. People should be. I know a couple people said that they're here in the room, but I don't see them. Yeah, because we're getting ready. We're gonna get it ready to run this agenda. Mm. So, what about you all? What is going on in your neck of the woods? Where is everybody? I know we had New York, um, Virginia, I believe. Oh, man, I miss him. Excuse me, y'all. Don't these phone calls start right when right when you start the live? These phone calls start. This is funny to me. This is funny, but we shall see. Okay. All right. So my group, bless you. Money, very good. My group should be here in a moment's notice. Let's see what's going on. See what's going on. And apologies, y'all. So, because as you all know, this does happen on the Saturday, the first Saturday of the excuse me, the first Saturday of the month. However, we um we have been, hey Naima, so we do have Virginia in the house. Virginia in the house. What is going on in your neck of the woods, and what are you going to do about it? Would definitely love for. We are going to discuss this as a state of the melanin. We are going to discuss the Roe versus Wade conversation today. We are saluting mothers of the movement. Okay. Of which, of course, I am with my two, babies. And we are saluting the mother of the movement, Miss Louisa herself, Miss Louisa Little, Malcolm X's mother, of course. And it was my mother's birthday on Friday, the 6th. And then, of course, you all know Mother's Day is on Sunday, the 8th. Those of you that acknowledge Mother's Day, because, of course, for some of us, we are mothers every day of the year. Bless you again, Niani. It is 365 days a year for us. But for those of you that do acknowledge May, the first Sunday in May as Mother's Day, then happy belated. So we are going to get into the Roe versus Wade conversation because I know that it is a national issue, but I definitely want to know what are some issues, what's going on locally in your communities. As you all know, here in this community, also in the Atlanta area, um, we are headed towards elections, of course, and these will be coming up. The early voting has already started, but the election day is May 24th, and actually, I am getting out tomorrow to go vote because I have been over in Austell for these past 2 weeks help with my sister's campaign, Monica Delancey, who is running for state representative of District 39. But tomorrow, I will be voting locally for a couple of very strategic positions in my area. And even though I don't plan on being in my area too much longer, I still will be utilizing my right to vote here in the area of which I live. So, welcoming to the stage, thank you, gentlemen, to the.
I can't hardly hear
Wait a
you,
minute.
Courtney. I can't
Hello,
hardly hear
hello.
you.
You can't hear me?
Not hardly.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it
I,
me or
I
is
can hear
it?
you. I can hear you.
I think it
You
might
may
be
want to
your
turn.
phone. Yeah,
Yeah, may
William, it
want to
might be
turn
your
that up a
device.
little bit.
Yeah, because I'm at maximum value and I'm hearing a little feedback from your end. So you might have it might be turned up in one space but not in another space. So uh so we're going to jump right into it since we're only going to grab an hour of time. I was explaining to the good people in the chat that normally, of course, we do usually glow live. We come live with the State of the Melanin address the first Saturday of the month. However, the campaigns and the push with Malcolm X Day and the fast has kicked some butt, and so we just decided to bring it back we decided to just go ahead and do it today on what's going on Wednesday. And so we can do, because this is definitely what's going on. So what's going on with the state of the melanin. So first and foremost, we want to talk about what's going on with you. I did already say what was going on with me. What's going on with me is these campaigns going on. We did definitely go ahead and acknowledge that we have one week to the minute, 1 week to the minute out from Claim Malcolm X Day. But for right now, we're still 1 week and a day, almost, almost a half a day. But and I also mentioned that we are looking very much here in Georgia. We're looking at these local elections, but this is something that is happening nationwide, you all. So even though I say that's what's going on here locally, you if you are a tax paying individual, and this is the rub, y'all. This is the truth of the matter. If you are a tax paying individual, you should be voting. I don't pay taxes and I still vote. But if you are a tax paying individual, you should be voting. And then of course, even though I don't pay taxes per se, of course I don't go into any establishment and I am not excluded from paying a tax, because until I have all of my paperwork in, where I'm a walking entity, just the same way that churches are tax exempt, people can be tax exempt. So it takes a while for that paperwork to be done, but once that paperwork is all done, I will be a card carrying tax exempt citizen and won't have to pay taxes, y'all. So it is possible, but that is that's in the works, but it's not yet. So until then, I still do pay sales tax and pay property tax as well. All right. So, what is going on with you, brother Supremacy Supreme, and what are you gonna do about it?
What am I going to do about it? Okay, peace. This is Pablo Star, Retro Revolutionary, but you hear me prophet. If you hear my voice, I'm part of the revolution. What's going on with me is the Malcolm X Day, May 19th. We're not asking permission to take a day for our progressive leaders. We are claiming Malcolm X Day on May 19th. So I've just been on the campaign trail with that. And and just been on the campaign trail with that and helping out Monica Delansky get her thing. And I'm not an advocate for voting, but I do advocate for people that advocate for us, and that's what Monica Delancey is doing. So, and also I heard what you're saying about voting. My thing is, Black people, we've been conditioned to vote for people that are not going to do anything for us. They're not going to do anything for us. In fact, they're just using our vote, Joe Biden, to further their agendas, anti-Black agendas, and just basically forgetting about us as soon as they get into whatever position they got voted in for. Thank you, Black people, and then is F you, Black people, when they get in that office. So Monica Delansky is not that. So I appreciate where she's coming from, especially with the advocacy that she's doing. So we got to vote for. If you are going to vote, vote for people that are going to do something for your vote and have promised to do something for your vote. And people vote for tangibles. People vote for things that they're going to get. Voting is a business thing. Is a business proposition. Votes. You shouldn't just freely cast your vote for people and just like go all blue, Democratic, or whatever party that you ascribe to, if they're not going to do anything for you. So it's about making a change, making a real change, and you got to vote. You got to go with people that are voting, are actually doing something for you. So, but Malcolm X Day, Claim Malcolm X Day, has been the forefront of a lot of things I've been doing right now, and getting that getting that going. It's going to be a monumental time. This is our 7th year. This is our 7th year since 2015. We've been rocking out Malcolm X Day, and Courtney's been here every single year since we started. So it's been a wonderful journey. It's been an awesome journey, and I love it.
Yes, and I definitely have enjoyed being physically in the building these past couple, as opposed to just supporting and doing my own claim Malcolm X Day activities down in Florida. So this has been very exciting, being a part of the build up and the just being a part of the momentum that's going on, during this time of the year, because it's definitely an energy. We kick it off with starting May with a fast, and that
Mm,
is, of course, the month of Malcolm. I think we need to
yep.
officially rename May the month of Malcolm. And I don't think my mom would even be opposed, because her birthday falls in on May 6th, but I don't think she would be opposed at all. Just the month of Malcolm, it needs to be renamed. And we always started with the month with the fast, but the energy definitely is something to be said about this incredible energy, right? That just always seems um to really, really take place. So I am very much excited about next week. We have some special guests coming in from out of town, and the goal is always to make each year better than the last. So this is a and last year, this is going to be hard to top, because the last year was pretty intense, but we are
Mhm.
in fact going to do it. So I am very excited with seeing how everything plays out. So, brother William, tell me what's going on with you, and what are you gonna do about it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to say that thank you, Courtney. You are a leader of today, and I admire your consistency, and that's where leadership is. The scriptures tell us that. It's not the one that is strong, it's not the one that is fast. It's the one that endures. They win. So, but I always believe that when it comes down to voting, of course, I'm gonna celebrate the Malcolm X, of course, and our existence is a celebration in and of itself. We're continuing his spirit. You know what I mean? But I've always believed in the voting part that we should be conscious uh, before we vote, conscious, aware of the candidate position, and and then also I also believe in the united vote. So a unity vote is power, and then also a conscience, some awareness of what the platform is power also, and a history on the candidate or some brief history on the candidate, and not just something that the candidate created. Because I'm not well learned on politics, but I've heard that candidates could create or fabricate stories about what they've done, and they might have did something one time, like took a picture of a homeless person and then make a long paragraph. Yeah, I'm helping homeless people, so they could just fabricate, something to make it seem like it's, they all for that. But um, 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 so plan to celebrate will be it's right here, and I'm gonna try to attend some of the meetings. So I really appreciate you being very consistent and determined. Well, thank you for inviting me on.
Well, I thank you too, brother William. Let me tell you, I can't do what I do without brothers and sisters, and a support team, a support team, and not just support people, but a support team. So, it really does. They say that a man will never achieve more than where than what his friends think of him. And so I tend to think of the same thing with even though I'm not a man, but female as well, women. And you know, like imagine your greatest attributes, you know, your friends will be the ones to tell people, hey, this is what this person does. It's not me. It's not me that they're gonna believe. That I can say anything. But it's support, it's people, it's friends, it's people like yourself, Brother Palmetto, and like I said, many nameless faces that you know, people that I know I can, and this circle is very small, you know, of people that I know. Hey, if I need something, I can depend on this person to come through. And you absolutely always are top of that list, all top of that list. So I thank you, Brother William, for always just being so supportive and so committed to this black building up black friendships and black love, because it all does start with the relationship, how we interact with one another. So thank you again for being a part of MX Media Group, a part of this journey, and being just as consistent with your availability and your passion incredibly. Thank you. Excuse me, y'all.
Awesome.
That
Awesome. Oh,
Benson gets excited back there.
oh.
Benson gets a little excited when we start talking about this with this black buildup. I don't think Benson is black, y'all. I don't think Benson is black. I just want to go on record as saying that. But but we're going into our first topic of today. Because again, with it being, we're going to make sure that we are spending this time wisely, which I think is something that I'm very much more mindful of during this time of the year. Just making every second, every minute, every hour count, just being as productive as possible. So we're going to move forward on the agenda and what we're discussing. And the first and foremost, top of the agenda today is we're talking about how the Roe versus Wade decision fallout is going to affect the black building blocks of our communities. Will it have an effect? Is it something that we as a people should be concerned about? Or if so, how should we be handling it? Or if not, why not? Okay. So we're gonna start with you first, Brother William, and then of course, Brother Palmetto, and I will add in my 2 cents on the tail end of the conversation.
Can you please I'm sorry, I'm not knowledgeable of the Roe versus Wade. Give me a briefing, please. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, the Roe versus Wade decision was what has made abortions not only legal, but what has made them to be funded. You know, it has given legislation for federal funding, you know, for abortion. So with what's happening right now, it is at the in a few states it already is illegal, three, I believe, right now, but they are on the cusp of overturning them to be. This will be almost a nationwide. I think only 10 states would be able to still be allowed to perform legal abortions. Now, this does not mean that states will not perform. They won't continue. Some of them won't continue to perform abortions, but they will not be. These will not. This will be illegal on a nationwide, but on a local level, they won't be funded. They won't be medically. These won't be medically funded operations. Whereas right now, abortions are they're funded. They are, so this means that doctors can get back. You know, if they perform a certain amount of, or not a certain amount, but if they perform abortions, they are paid, they're compensated, their facilities are compensated, and that sort of thing. So this would erase that. So Brother William is actually out of, he should be logging back in. So we'll just go ahead and start with you, Brother Palmetto. And we're going to be talking about in weather decision, because again, it will be, there will be about 10 states. I believe New Jersey is still one of them. New York is still one of them. That will still be able to perform that will still perform abortions legally. But Georgia, of course, is one of the states where it will be illegal. Florida is one of the states that it will be illegal. I believe all of the bordering states of Georgia, it will still be illegal. But I believe Louisiana, same thing. Alabama, Arkansas. There. So how will this affect the Black community and our efforts to build our villages, to build our communities, to build up our families, or restructuring our family center? Are Will it? And if so, how? If not, why not?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that the Roe v. Wade decision to overturn it has nothing to do with Black people. It has everything to do with falling pink rates, with it has everything to do with zero population growth. It has everything to do with the fact that no matter how many Planned Parenthoods are put into Black neighborhoods, the majority of people that get abortions are um, pink ladies, pink women, white women. Um, so it is about that, and that's why they're doing things two pronged. One over that you're seeing, one on the table, and then one that's underneath the table. You have Roe versus Wade being overturned, but then you also have a lot of states are sort of loosening the what rape is, what they consider rape, and sort of making that making rape more legitimate, and that is because Pell Mells and the pink um, propagation, propagating pink people, has always been based on rape, whether it's by so they are doing two things. They want these rape babies to come through, so the Pell population could still survive, maybe, and that's is a false. It is actually too little, too late, because they're already at zero population growth. It's not going to happen. So no matter how how much you want to loosen what rape is, and how much you want to overturn and not have people abort those rape babies, it's still not going to increase the pink population. So I'll say that first and foremost. Secondly, that I'll say that Margaret Sanger, the person that started Planned Parenthood, was a eugenist, an anti-Black racist. What we consider abortion in its way right now, the institution, it was by onset an anti-Black thing. She said this is a way for Black people to abort Black babies. And see, this is why they always try to insert that into the discussion about Black people. Now they have these Black people that they have created, these democratic bots, so to speak, that you know that include abortion into the Black discussion, and we're like, and it was there as a tool for Black babies to die, get killed. You know what I'm saying? So that was deliberate. That was by her own admission. By Margaret Sanger's own admission. This was a tool for Black children to get killed before they even get out of the womb. So so it's that's happening. So I don't think it's a Black issue per se. They want it to be a Black issue. They always inject um abortion into the democratic thing, and thus this created black person that they created, this black Democrat bot that they created. So it's always in the discussion, but 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 they overturned Roe versus Wade, are proposing to overturn Roe versus Wade, not because of black people, because of the declining pink population.
Very strong words. That's always, Brother Palmetto. Absolutely. Appreciate that contribution to this conversation. Brother William, are you a little bit, because I know you
Yeah,
kind of tapped out when I
yeah,
was at the top of kind of explaining, but are you a little better
yeah.
now or
No, yeah,
okay?
you gotta
Okay.
re-explain it. My phone was acting up. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
But did you hear or should we go and
I heard
revisit the
half of
question
it.
again?
Half of it.
Okay.
I need to hear.
Um, so the matter at hand, so to speak, is that the Roe versus Wade decision is in jeopardy, not even be overturned. And this was something that I guess people thought like literally wouldn't see times, and it is on track for being overturned. Already a few states that have declared abortions to be illegal, including actions of incest and rape. And in those, as Brother Palmetto just stated, um, the raper, the predator can actually the predator's family can sue if the person it does abort the child. They can actually sue up to $10,000 for the aborted fetus. So it is definitely a two prong approach to control women's bodies. But the question at hand is that does that matter to us, to the black community, that Roe versus Wade is about to be overturned? And the other side of the question is if it does concern us, how does it concern us? If it doesn't concern us, why not?
Okay. Not an easy one. It's not a hard question, but I just know that the first thing comes to mind is the powers that be has what they call population control. So I know that's part of the eugenics, and that's part of the agenda to control the population. So in their minds, controlling the population is to reduce it by any means, meaning killing, of course. Killing could be in different aspects. It could be in the abortion aspect. It could be in the police brutality aspect. That's included, I think, and other aspects in the hospital. Some people don't even trust doctors nowadays because, you know, we don't have the equipment to detect, the right tools to detect, high tech killing machines or mechanisms. But I believe that they're in the hospitals too. The agenda, the population control or reducing of control population is an agenda of the powers that be inside the hospitals too, because those are places where they can actually get us at where we're most vulnerable was in the hospitals. You could be sick, you could be a leader, and you can just have a common cold. You go to a hospital, the enemy could come in and wipe you out with maybe a drop of some poison or something. I think I don't know how to answer the question. I heard what you were saying. It was pretty, well explained. But I just believe the system, the power that be, they've always had an agenda to to control us, to both control us and to erase us. And if they're not trying to erase us, then we're still the servants that they want us to be. So that's the part that I believe that is becoming more obvious. If we're not servants, if we're slaves and servants, then they can use us. But if we're not and we're conscious and aware, then they want to wipe you out, especially when you're in big numbers. So I don't have a real direct answer to that because even though you explained it to me clearly and well, well versed, well articulated. I still don't have a real good direct answer because I need to be more learned on it. But thank you. That's all I got.
Can I say something real quick? I think it's because kind of like a little, honestly, it's kind of sadistic how they just included black people um, into this thing about abortion because abortion is about killing black babies. The eugenics is actually a legalized Nazi-like that was aimed specifically at black people, and that's why you have all these Planned Parenthood and black babies to reduce black babies. Period. Point blank. And then and the fact that most of the people that are still getting the abortion are Becky's and white women. You know that's a telltale thing right there. Abortions are aimed specifically at black people. That's why they are always in this. That's why it's always been a staple of the Democratic Party because it is there because it is specifically to kill black children. Honestly, saying so. Um, it's not about a woman's. That's narrative. I think it's not really about women's choice or women's bodies or anything like that. It's about killing black babies. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Like it has nothing to do with black people. You know what I'm saying? These white babies are mostly white.
I definitely agree, and I'm going to go on a limb here. As you all know, I always say that this channel, there's nothing else that this channel can be about. It is about accountability because I think that accountability is the only way that you can really forge a path to enlightenment and in fact glowing up. And I don't want to sound on the scope of I don't want to sound on the heels of being a hypocrite because having this procedure is something that I have actually partaken in my past. It's something that I have um, regretfully have had a situation where um, it was after a sexual assault, and I can't I I honestly it was still a decision that I very much grappled with. It was a very it was something hard to kind of even wrap my head around because I worked with the person that assaulted me, and I still even with that that knowledge and that presence and that that our pressure, I still did feel very conflicted with going through with the procedure. Um, and I it's something that I think about, to this day, and it happened, many years ago. Something that I had to go through therapy for, and uh, you know, I, I, I can't say that I would not make that decision again. And that's really what the honesty of it is. I can't say that I wouldn't make that decision again if that happened. Um, to just know that that wouldn't be an option. But I think that people do need to look past the because I did have a situation that it was, the I won't say it was the most extreme, but it was one of the, and it was definitely something that was listed as far as in this particular these particular instances what had to be was covered in this particular legislation, that even if this happened, someone still would not, be allowed to have illegal. And I think that that's something that we have to also wrap our heads around, and understanding that they're not saying that the procedures would not still be available, but you would be partaking in any legal activity, that can come with a fine and come with jail time, if it is discovered. So like I said, I can't say that hopefully I wouldn't if that situation happened to me again, but I can say that I think that we as a people, as a collective, again, we need to stop looking at it being the most extreme and start saying, when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, um, uh, abortions was something that was created for, or something that was promoted literally to keep us from procreating, from reproducing. So I do think, you are right, Brother Palmetto, in that regard. We don't need to get caught up in thinking, oh, this is going to infringe on our rights. Rights to do what? Because like I said, I don't want to sound hypocritical, but even in my extreme case, or in my situation, I still did grapple with the decision that I made to not go forward with that pregnancy. And I know for a fact that there were times in my life where it wouldn't it pregnancies, it wasn't about the fact of this being an extreme case or this extreme issue. It was more so about the fact of having the availability. And if you are a black woman, the availability is always going to be there, and it will continue to be so. This is not our fight, it's our fight. I think, like I said, we need to start looking at it through the lens as opposed to individualistic. Individually, this was something that happened to me, and I moved with the procedure. However, I think that collectively, this is not something that affects us wholeheartedly. They don't mind us still having access to this, but at the same time, having us have children does aid to um the breeding relationship that black women have always been seen as, in this country, because we the first thing ever traded was a pregnant black woman on the stock market. We have been conditioned to be a breeding ground, literally, for underclass of people. And this is why, again, when you look at the plantation history, there were clauses written in that if, you bore so many children, again, for because we were property. If you bore so many children, you were able to literally uh, produce your way to freedom, by bearing, I think in some instances it was 10, 12, 14 children. You could, literally buy your freedom by producing children. And in some plantations with these breeding farms, they were done in the most heinous of conditions, being forced to breed with your family members, brothers, sisters. And as a matter of fact, anybody wants to do some more research on how plantations and breeding farms literally have led the way for these type of legislation, I would love for you to take a look at it's a mockumentary, but it's called Goodbye Uncle Tom. And this is not the Uncle Tom cabin that we know of, but it was a parody slash mockumentary, but it talked about the
I can't
breeding
hear you.
farms.
I can't hear you. The background is really loud.
Well,
I can't hear.
somebody has my device. Somebody has the device on multiple devices, so there's an echo. So if you're not speaking, everyone should be on mute. If Right. So because that's coming from a feedback. So again, I do think that this is a situation that we should look at with a collective lens. This is something that is not for us. Not to say that it won't affect us, because again, as a wise man once said to me, sometimes things done in spite can come off to spite. So not to say that it won't affect us, but it's not being done to affect us. It's being done, as I wholeheartedly believe, 100% what Brother Palmetto said. It is because of the fact that the birth rate of white people is so low. It's so low, and we do know that white women, they have, they start having abortions at very young ages. I can remember a very specific case, and I'm just going to say this before we move on to the next topic. But I remember in high school, and I was in my second year, and man, it was when I tell you, it was a really, really just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful young woman, and a girl. Let me not even say a young woman; she was a girl, and she was not black, but there was some ethnicity there, and I tell you why. We never knew what her ethnicity was, but there was some ethnicity there. We thought for a long time that she was like, she was Indian. And again, you while I'm telling the story from, like, I was in high school, so I wasn't well traveled, you know. But I was in my second year, so I was about 15 years of age, and she was on the dance team. She was on the dance team, and she was, I was in the band, she was on the dance team, and just a beautiful girl, like very attractive, beautiful girl. And the next year, she was gone for like half a year, and everybody was kind of wondering what was going on with her. She was gone for like half a year, and when she came back, she got right back on the dance team, and she was, doing her thing. She was back on the dance team. So she's 16 at this point. And our senior year, so 17, she revealed to us that she had gotten pregnant. In fact, pregnant her, that second year when we were in 10th grade, and she had given her baby up for adoption. And I was pretty close to her at this point in time, so we were having like a real candid conversation. And I said, but how did you get your child up for adoption? Like, isn't that weird that you could like walk past your child and you wouldn't know who it is? And she said, no, she'll turn out okay because I was adopted. And I just almost fell out. We were at the lunch table. I literally almost fell on my seat. That she was like, it was so, just accepted and supported, because she was in fact adopted by, a white family. And I remember, man, the boy's father, um the boy was like a real twerp, but the father was definitely a racist guy. And she was, like I said, she wasn't black, but she wasn't white, but she was adopted by a white family. But anyway, I just thought that that was just such a weird conversation to be having, because literally, probably about 3 months prior, I used to get my hair braided all the time, and it came to my realization, or we all found out that and she was also a sophomore. She was a sophomore, but it was a black girl. She was a sophomore, and she got pregnant from a very popular, she was dating a very popular black football player at the school. And so she had gotten it, and she was literally the same age the girl was pregnant. But they handled it totally different. They decided to have their baby, and I don't go home often, but the children are doing very well. They ended up having like another child as well, and they didn't stay together, but the children are doing very well. Um, but we do handle that totally differently. We do handle that totally differently. And like I said, this girl used to braid my hair. The other one that had gotten pregnant, and her conversation was just totally different. And I just thought, and that's why I think I was just so shocked by it, because Here we had this other, woman who, in her family, it was just, it was literally, it was nothing to them. It was nothing to them because she had been adopted. So she got pregnant, and we're just going to adopt this baby out. And she said she didn't have no problems with it because she was sure that it was going to be raised by a good family, and she was just going to have no problem with it because she had been adopted and she had got raised good. But here I had this other family, and you would think, this other family was not well off. Like I said, this girl, this young girl, she would braid hair to, make extra money for her and her family, and um, but her thought was never, hey, I'm going to give my baby up. She was like,
Adoption,
yeah, we just going to make it work. And
adoption,
Saul,
adoption.
like I say, sometimes when I'm back, I still see, their children, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful, grown babies now, but it's literally how we embrace the notion.
Right.
And
Adoption in the
I
black.
will say far more in the black community. Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And
Adoption
that's
in the
why
black
even with,
community is tragical.
yeah.
It's tragical. Adoption in the black community is tragical.
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah. That's not something that we promote, that we definitely promote. And like I said, even with what I went through, I grappled. I grappled. It wasn't like it was just like, oh, not a second thought. I still grappled, and I named that baby and everything. And, don't get me crying over here right now. I named that baby and everything. So it wasn't like, it was still a hard situation. It was still a hard decision, even with what I went through. Um, so moving the conversation along though, and thank you both again for, great contributions towards that, because I definitely wanted to make sure that we did address that. We didn't want to make we did I did wanted to make sure that we did not make that uh a we took consideration that we didn't want to say, hey, we don't realize that this is something that is affecting, this will affect us ultimately, but this is not the reasons why it affects us are totally different. Are totally different. And I think that our energy does say in consensus that we should more so be in support of growing our communities, not necessarily figuring out ways for us to aid in what is done, but also being very intentional with our productive systems, reproductive systems. So, again, thank you both for your contribution. We are moving right along. One topic that's very near and dear to my heart. How does cooning really hurt our community? Because like we can throw around this term and we can joke about it, but you all, as we know, there is a major shift happening. And I think that we do need to start having this discussion of, we all love these sayings, all skin folk and kin folk, and, Oreo and this and that. We all love these sayings. But beyond just the cliche and the trite sayings that are prevalent, why and how does cooning hurt our building efforts? So I'm going to let you go first, Brother William, and then I'm going to go, and then Palmetto can have the
Okay.
final word on that question.
Okay. Okay. That's a really good question. Um, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that cooning itself is an economic. It has an economic relevance to it. So a lot of times a coon is bought. They're bought with a price. So it's like even during slavery, you had to offer uh, the coon. You had to offer him something that most of the slaves didn't have. Some money, material, food. You had to give them something, so it had to be. It's an economic base to it. So this is the grab, I believe, that the enemy has on us, or even the the growth or the increase of coons in our community is based upon what the enemy offers. So how does it affect us? The enemy is more persuasive because of its offer than our rhetoric, our rhetoric of unity and love for each other. So they can't see the benefit. So many of our people have turned coon because what's the benefit? What am I benefit out of this black unity or coming together, but not seeing the big picture of or looking out broad enough to see and analyzing the situation to see how the enemy has from day one uh, set up, strategized and to defy and conquer you, and to destroy you ultimately. So, how does it affect us? Oh man, it's a direct. It's like a spiritual explosion or implosion, if you will. It destroys us inside out. We become unlike ourselves. Um, it 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 passes down to our generation. If I'm a coon, if I'm selling myself to the devil in whatever way, it's going to be the, I guess, the example of my children. Whatever I do, they're going to see that example and then follow it, more than likely follow it when it is not a good example to follow. So if it affects us heavily to a point where it is the greatest destruction upon our race, upon our people. Um, yeah. So how does it affect us? Greatly. I rest my mind.
And what a powerful resting of the mic, absolutely. Brother William, and I feel like I don't even really need to say much because when I tell you I felt that because you're absolutely right. Like what happens when cooning is your legacy? What happens when cooning is your legacy? And that was one of, the factors that I was going to say. That's how it definitely does affect us because um but I love how you opened up the conversation with saying that from an economical standpoint, because it puts your integrity at a price. Puts your integrity at a price. Puts your character at a price. You're already starting with devaluing what your unity and what the significance of your um camaraderie with your brothers and sisters, what that comes with. You're already setting a price on it. You're already devaluing it, and so you can only go down from there. So I think that does hurt our community because it makes no trust issue. I mean, it makes you just have no trust. It makes incredibly highly dangerous trust issues be implemented, and also a fear of black people because you never know who is out there cooning. Because let's be very frank, some cooning is done very much overtly, and some cooning is done covertly, and so you really just never know who to trust, and you cannot. I wholeheartedly believe, because just as I said, friends, having friends, having a support system, knowing who you can rely on, knowing who you can trust, knowing who you can be loyal to and who's loyal to you. That's, no man is an island. And so to just go through life not to have that sense or um that compromise, to have that level of understanding or appreciation or that reality compromise is very dangerous. I always say, when in doubt, don't. So imagine, how you just can't move on certain things if I can't trust, and if I can't trust people that look like me. Dang, what does that say? What did that say? And I know this definitely, I really believe that literally about 99% of all of our problems have stemmed from slavery. I do not think that we had these issues definitely pre slavery. I think that the issues that we had, all human beings have, but I think that there were certain conditions that were exploited, that were promoted, and there were certain these uh disappointments were made economically, they were rewarded. And this is why I do think slavery is absolutely not only this. That's why I always say, when people say, well, that happened years ago, this is why this is not something that we can continue to just put into a certain time frame. This is ever persistent. I don't think when we really have, and this is, I'm gonna, end my statement with this, because I'm not going to belabor this point right now. We're going to save some of it for the awesome panel coming up next Thursday. But this is why I don't think reparations should be a, time sensitive, or, a limit. It's not going to be no, okay, it's 400 years, indefinite. And pay taxes again ever, indefinite, because literally that's what slavery was. The Olympics for coons. This is where they were born, bred, and made, and this has been passed down, passed down. This is why you can't trust. This is why you can't build, and we will never be able to, we will never be able to get those opportunities back. It is only moving forward, but you do have to move forward with a certain degree of suspicion. And I honestly, I hate living that way. I'm not even going to hold y'all. I hate living that way, where that. I hate having to tell my children you can't trust everybody. I hate having to tell my children that. So, I'm, like I said, I'm gonna save some meat, or what they say. I'm gonna save some of that extra. I'm gonna save some of that gravy for the conversation next Thursday. But that's my statement there. But excellent, excellent contribution, Brother William, and right on the money. Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Palmetto. You're closing out this thing.
Well, there's levels and degrees to this. There's levels to this ish, like the popular colloquialism right now. But because they took black people out of the field and made everybody a house nigger. So the more appealing thing to do is to be anti-black. It comes with rewards. It comes with perks. It comes with benefits. You don't are not situated in the white category. You'll never be on that. But the more damage, harm, hurt that you put on black people, the more rewards you get in this society, whether it be a police officer or a politician or some Fox News coon, or they benefit. They give benefits to people that are anti-black, and so it's degrees to it. Most people don't know they're even cooning. You know what I'm saying? But they just spout off a lot of anti-black rhetoric, and that's about narrative. And that narrative has been popularized, but it doesn't cost anything. It costs $0 and 0 cents to create the narrative and to push our narrative, a pro-black narrative. So I think that's what the challenge, and that's what the task is, so to speak. The assignment is for us to push our agenda of pro-black, black supremacy, black love, black divinity. That's where that comes. in is us for us to do that, because most people don't even know they're cooning, honestly. But the people that do know they're cooning are, they're doing it to the umpteenth degree, and they're doing it for a paycheck, you know. So write down these names of people that are doing it, and so because we all have to hold people accountable for their actions. You know what I'm saying? Hold people accountable for their actions, because uh, pink power terrorism, aka white supremacy, is in power, so to speak, right now. But what is the trend? What's happening, and what everybody knows is that black supremacy is the next is going to be in power, like it was before. And so, all those people that are doing those things, um, we're all going to need some sort of level of rehabilitation. And then I think there's definitely some people that are beyond the pale, that are beyond rehabilitation. That so, but cooning people do. Everybody does it most people, I should say, do it in degrees. They don't even know that they're doing it. But it's up to us. It's our burden, the black man's burden, to push the the narrative of black supremacy and the narrative of black divinity, to where they see what they're doing is anti-black, and very hurtful.
I think that was such a powerful. Thank you, also, Brother Palmetto, because I do think that was a very powerful sentiment when you said that most people don't even know that they're cocoon. I think that you're absolutely right. And this, I think, is a very uh on point conversation, because even in the wake of the um, ex Nation of Islam members, or the FOIs, that with murdering, with being charged with the assassination of Brother Malcolm, the murder of Brother Malcolm. They said that, for years they didn't really see that as what they were doing, as being anti-black, even as they were assigned with seeing to the removal of Brother Malcolm from this realm. They didn't see that as uh doing something that was anti-black. So I do think that that's something very prevalent to note, that some people don't recognize their own community, and sometimes we don't recognize it because we don't want to identify as something, as though that we are, it's a trait that we may have. And so, also a great point, that's why we do to ascribe to the black royalty, black unity, black supremacy mind state, so that we can continue to elevate higher. Because we continue to elevate higher, you it's very unlikely that you fall so short of that awakening, understanding. So last but not least, y'all know we had to do it. We had to talk about it. We're not going to spend an hour and a half like Tariq Nasheed spent on it yesterday, but we are going to talk about the sudden death of content creator, polarizing figure, Kevin Samuels, and as being in Atlanta, and with him being have made his mark being in Atlanta, on the Atlanta dating scene, which many people said that kind of added to the air of the high value man kind of mindset, because you're in a space where you know men are a hot commodity here in Atlanta, and very few cities that are predominantly black. Is that the same type of do they have the same type of statistics? So some many are saying that if he had been in, let's say, a Chicago, or even even in places like Ohio, where the population is up, but it's more so so balance, he would have the same type of success with his audience members. But we do want to talk about what this effect, this, if any, will have on the effect on black ships. What has come to be exposed in the wake of his death, which will be a week tomorrow, actually. So, and I want to just first and foremost just go on record with saying this, that at the top of last week, Brother Palmetto did say to me, look, Thursday something's going to happen. Just keep your eye on Thursday. And it was, in fact, my sister Monica who broke the news to me that Kevin Samuels had been found dead. But the first thing I thought about was that, oh yeah, it is Thursday, and Brother Palmetto did say something was going to happen on Thursday. But I definitely condolences to Kevin Samuel's family. He leaves behind a daughter, and then two daughters that he was in relationships with their mother, and then of course his mother. Condolences to the Samuels family. But we do want to be very, and I know I don't have to say that here, but just be very, we are looking at the impact, the significance of his philosophy, and you know, as it relates to the relationship conversation in this day and age. Did he aid to the division between black men and black women? uh, and what in fact has been his legacy. So respectfully, we want to have a short dialogue or discourse about that, about Kevin Samuel's untimely death. So I'll go first, I guess, and then Brother Palmetto, and then Brother William can close out this topic. Um, I will say this. I did not watch a lot of his shows in their entirety. I do feel as though they were not what I did watch, and I was on a couple of his lives. Two of them, one of them was the one where he the phrase "you're average at best" was used. I was actually on that live when he used that statement, and I just I was always blown away by the audacity of Kevin Samuels, just kind of like the brash rhetoric. But what kind of would get me, and this is what I always say, like I said, I did not, spend a lot of time watching his content. Let me be very frank. But what always would concern me at the end of the day was that the people of which he was talking to were not the same people that were in these type of relationships. And that's what kind of concerned me, that there was a very knowledgeable, disingenuous um uh relationship happening. And I think he's a smart man and he knew that. But I think at the end of the day, he was not speaking to quote value men. So why would we concern our high value conversations with men that were not in those tax brackets? That was basically my the main crutch I had with his philosophy. But again, I'm not going to speak at length on anything at all, just because of the fact, like I said, I did not watch a lot of his content. I had many people that are in my circle, are in my I guess in my arena in the industry of content creating, journalism, self brand awareness, brand awareness builders, that sort of thing. I had many people in my industry that were staunch watchers, very very much so, men and women. But with myself, I was not. So I would say, as far as significantly, what is going to be the impact, again, looking collectively. I'm not looking individually. Now individually, like I said, I wasn't a watcher, but honestly, collectively, I knew a lot of people that were. um think collectively people are going to be needing someone else to kind of pick that torch up. And he provided a safe space, an outlet for men to, pretend to live vicariously through these high value expectations. And I do think that just, for sanity, I think Edmund Samuels provided therapy, for lack of a better term, even without being a licensed whatever. He provided therapy. He provided a safe space for men to like I said, live vicariously, and he provided a space for women to get some type of you know what it was? It was validation. And I remember thinking this after seeing like one of I think it was either it might have been the first one. It wasn't the second one because I think after the second one I was pretty much done. But I think the first one I remember just thinking that some women are going to need to know, okay, well that's the reason why I don't have da 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 da. Like some people are actually looking for that. I may not be one of them, but I know collectively some people do need that. Some people do think they need that. I will say that. Not needed, they think they need that. They think they need that type of validation. And unfortunately, the place that they were going to it, that they rely on it, does not serve them in the same capacity. So this is why, his lives would have thousands of people in it consistently. And so I do know he will be missed by the community that he was definitely feeling a void from both sides for whatever reason. And collectively, like I said, I do think there will need to be some type of establishment for people that need that type of outlet. So my thoughts, Brother Palmetto.
Well, Kevin Samuels really exposes the lack of rites of passage in the Black community between manhood and between being a child and a man and being a woman and or being a girl and a woman. So I think that he sort of brings that rites of passage to that. Um, we're talking about this on Too Raw for TV this Thursday, this coming up Thursday. Did was Kevin Samuels murdered for his mouth? So that's going to be the topic. But he exposed that the lack of rites of passage between in our community, and that's something that's important. Something that we can have to separate the boys from the men, so to speak. And I think accountability is good, and looking at yourself in a real lens. Black people, Black women in particular, were his main critics, but also his main viewers. They got on his live to hear him, berate them or whatever they think is berating or whatever. They were calling his live and calling his phone and all that just to get just to hear that, just to hear him say something about you're average at best. They wanted to hear that. I mean, but I think that exposes just the lack of rites of passage in our community, and also we have to have not only was he holding women to a standard, but he was also holding men to a standard and saying that we need to hold ourselves better and to a higher standard. And his mentor, a lot of people don't know, is Siraza Ali. So he was basically just repeating her talking points and a lot of the stuff that she would say and saying it in a male voice and without the comedic gear on. He was doing it in a suit and tie, but he was basically just really repeating her points. He was a student of hers. So I think that I think that he does. There is a void out there, and it also speaks volumes that one person has said that this opens up a power vacuum, and I was like, wow, how powerful is a message that when the person dies, it supposedly opens up another a power vacuum of people that they now this conversation is a needed conversation, and it is because we need to hold ourselves to some sort of standard accountability. I didn't agree with everything he said, but the fact that we about holding ourselves accountable and holding other people accountable and 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 having some sort of standards um, is definitely true. You know what I'm saying? That we need to really you know be about that and holding each other accountable and having ourselves to some sort of standard. Holding ourselves to a certain standard.
Okay.
Absolutely
Um,
agree. Yes, Brother William, if you would like to close out that topic, definitely, absolutely agree.
yeah, it's unfortunate that I didn't know who he was, and I still don't know. Can you send me something, just some, some really important videos that you heard and seen? I'm gonna look at it myself. I'm just trying to
At this
look
point,
at
Brother William, I'm glad you know who I am because
it.
because
But
because Brother
I
William,
have.
I am so glad. No, I really am because you really do. William, you be about your work. It really
I
is
have,
true. You about that
well,
work. You about that
the
grind
first,
life. I am so
the
glad.
first, the
I'm
first,
glad I get when I call you and you pick up that phone. I am so glad that you're not saying who is this again because I'm on this
I, I,
on this work.
I have this belief. I barely share it, but I believe it, and I believe that we have. I believe in the eternal life, rebirth of our leaders, our ancestors. I believe that eternal life is through like the Malcolm X's and the Garveys. We have their spirit. So the continuation of them, I think we put too much focus. I'm speaking in general because I'm saying this because we are we are Garvey, we are Malcolm, we are them. So the re and birth is eternal. That's the eternity. So so he ain't dead. So we're alive. He's the spirit is alive. So and I wanted to know what kind of person he was because I do want to be able to honor his, especially his. If he had work, that's what I look at mostly, because we got to continue the work. The spirit is what guides you and what work needs to be done. So even though Malcolm's gone, Kevin Sanders is gone. If they had work to be continued, that's what we're supposed to. We just need to take their spirit, be like them, think like them, behave, and that would be the eternal rebirth. So, but I don't have much because I never I didn't know him, and I'm sorry to say that.
Well, I definitely, like I said, I definitely appreciate that honesty and that candor. So I will definitely share, what I do have because, like I said, I didn't follow a lot of his, I didn't follow his platform per se. I just happened to, when I first started, my YouTube channels, he was in my recommendeds, and I guess he was in my recommendeds because he also, again, was from Atlanta, and I ended up hopping in, a live or two, and but things very much
Let me
exploded after the very first live that I was in, where he told the girl she was Jax, and that became like um that spread like a wildfire. So
let me ask a quick
he was
question.
a very polarizing figure. Go ahead.
Quick question with quick answer. Okay. What rebirth? Who is he? What like I say? We are our ancestors. I'm Garvey. I'm Malcolm. You are Fannie Mae. Harriet Tubman. You know what I'm saying? We are them. We are them. We are them. Okay. So
Yes.
who would you say he was? who did he resemble? Or I didn't, because I didn't know him.
Ooh.
Who would you say our
Um,
ancestors?
I didn't know him personally. I would say he
Oh,
resembled if I were to say anybody, I would I would probably say he resembled Bannard, which
who?
was like a okay, so there was a preacher that kind of went toe to with well, not toe to toe, but he was a friend of the movement with brother Martin, but he kind of went toe to toe with Malcolm, and it was more so on his views. And he was only homosexual. Kevin was, but when I this philosophy idea with relationships, I think that it was just as polarizing as the time. So Banner was the name. Um, uh, he was a now I will say how because and the reason why I'm having a hard time like with that particular answer is because Kevin Samuels was a self-described image consultant, and he would get asked about he would get asked about relationships because he was an image consultant. So men that had hired him to kind of fix their wardrobe and to give them sense to what have you to attract women. They would ask him why they weren't attracting a certain criteria of women, and this is where the relationship um, philosophies kind of became more prevalent in his work. So, but when I think of, like I say, polarizing figures, I do think of Banner because, of course, people didn't feel as though um, Martin Luther King should have been working with Banner because he was gay, and Malcolm kind of felt like uh, you know it for lack of a better term, not because of his sexuality or it, however, it was because Malcolm was very much a pro family, pro progressive growth among black people, and he didn't really think that Banner's philosophies should have been anywhere in the conversation when it became to growing black families. So that's why example. But our time has to a close. So we do have our last say for our State of the Melon address. I just want to say, and I thank you both of you brothers for being here with me today, for kicking it with me for the State of the Melanin address. Even though we're off our usual time frame, we definitely were still very much on topic, and I do appreciate your contributions to this conversation. I want to thank everyone that came into the conversation today in the live. Sister Naima, Sir Senior, Guy, North Carolina worker, NC worker, thank you so much. And those who are watching that you still win, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow up, if you want to be on the next conversation or State of the Melanin address, please make sure to send your request to cmxday519@gmail.com. You can find that address right there through the website as well. And last but not least, yes, join us if you're anywhere near or in the Georgia area. Make sure you go ahead and get your tickets. They're available at coloredonlycat.com. Make sure you raise up and elevating, uplifting Brother Malcolm's spirit and his legacy. We do not wait to take the time when it's convenient. We celebrate his day on his day, and it is in May 18th. Brother Palmetto, you next, and then Brother William, you can close us out.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll say even if you are not in the Georgia area, it will be well worth it to come to Atlanta on May 19th. There are people doing this in different cities around the country. Philadelphia is doing a banging CMXD thing. So there are people doing it around the country. However, it will behoove you to come to Atlanta. then make that trip. It will be worth it because we are doing something not only on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well. And then you have the Malcolm X Festival, which makes its debut back to Atlanta on that weekend. But yeah, just it'll be well worth it. We're gonna have food, giveaways, activities for the children, and a lot of people that are gonna be there from all around the country. Matter of fact, I'm talking to somebody right now. They're coming up from Florida to be part of the festivities, the activities, I should say. So yeah, it'll be well worth it. Come on up, May 19th. We're not asking permission to claim Malcolm X Day. Take that day off of work in school. Now that no cooning, you're a coon if you're working on Malcolm X Day. I'm gonna be real with you. Let's be real. Like if you're working on Malcolm X Day, or even if you're working, I was even saying in a black place, if they're not acknowledging Malcolm X on Malcolm X Day, you're cooning. So join us, Malcolm X Day, claim Malcolm X Day in Atlanta. We're going to be at two places. At first we're going to be at the Beloved Community Church, 1113 Irish Street, and that's going to be from 11:13 to 3. And then we're going to be at the Black Dot Cultural Center in Lithonia, which is going to be from 7 p.m. to midnight, and that's at 6984 Main Street in Lithonia. So you definitely want to be part of that. And we got things going on all that weekend that are going to be awesome and just really put it in perspective of where we're at. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited about this, and we're making it happen. Look forward to seeing you guys out there.
Well said. I extend that invitation and couldn't have said it no better than Carmela. He said it well. I like to leave everybody with a food of thought. Ironically, even though work requires money and time, so does love. Those are my final words. Thank you for inviting me.